Okay, so it turns out that some of you have never played Yahtzee. So let me explain to you how Yahtzee works. You got dice. The way this GUI works, and you're going to make a GUI, or you're going to have a GUI kind of like this. This is your scorecard. These are your dice, and basically every round you will roll your dice. They all do their business, and I'm still on the first round. That was my first roll. Now your mission is to highlight these buttons just as suggestions for the player. They could really click any of these buttons, but by the way, this is a J button. This is a J text field. J button. J text field. The reason I highlighted twos is because they got some twos. They don't have any ones, so I didn't highlight the aces button. They could still try to use that, but I'm not suggesting that to them. Fours got highlighted because four, it has a four. Sixes, they got some sixes, so I said maybe do that. You can always use chance. Chance is always applicable. Now that was just my first roll of the first round. I can keep any one of these dice that I want and roll the rest of them. Let's say I want to re-roll those three. There's my second roll. Now after the second roll changes what you're going to suggest. This time I stopped suggesting the threes because I don't have any more. This time I am suggesting aces, so I've highlighted this button. I've highlighted the twos button. This time now I have three of a kind, so I would highlight that. I've still got one more roll to go this round, and there it is. So after this, they can't roll anymore. That was all the rolls for round one. You absolutely have to pick some category to use. So I mean, I could pick fives. I could say I want to use this set as my fives score. But when you add only the fives, I would get a zero. So that's why I'm not really suggesting this. Let's say this. I'm gonna try to use my three of a kind, and the score you would get when you use this is to add all those dice. So there's 18, 21. I'm going to say I want that. Puts the 21 there. And now I can never use that category again because I've already used it. So basically each round is three rolls. There's my first roll. Awesome. Every time you roll, you're going to highlight different things that they might try. Then they get to keep what they want, throw away what they don't. This time, highlighting fours, highlighting ones, highlighting sixes. I'm just gonna go crazy trying to get all fours. Oh, nice. So I've got, look at this, four of a kind, four of a kind. So I'm gonna do this again. I'm gonna add those up, 16, 22. I'll use that one. Now, what's gonna happen is when you're all said and done, you have to have used you have to, at the end of your three rolls, you have to use something. You have to use one of these things. Now, I don't know what I'm doing here. Yeah, let's just do something stupid. So at the end of the round, I've got this to work with. I'm suggesting twos. I'm suggesting fours. I'm suggesting sixes. But they don't have to listen to my suggestions. They could say, I want to take this and I want to score this round as my full house category, right? Full house should be 25 points, but they don't have a full house. So when they click this and say, hey, I want to use this in my full house, they get 0 points because that was not a full house. Awesome. So they could have counted it as a small straight and gotten 0 points. They could have tried to put it in their large straight category and gotten 0 points. So they could always pick whatever. Now, once you've used one of these, you can't use it again, and so that button never exists anymore. So basically, that's how Yahtzee works, in case you've never played Yahtzee. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, small straight. Let's see if I can make this a 5. Oh, look at that. Large straight. So when I pick large straight, because I do have a large straight, it's going to put 40 points in there. Awesome. Now, here's what's going on. You are going to be writing some code in this My Game class. Now, there's a bunch of blue stuff. Don't uncomment this, but just know that these are variables that you can work with. You have a Yahtzee dice named the dice. You have, now there are a couple different ways. You have a bunch of buttons variables, but those buttons variables also exist in this array called buttons. So you could talk about them in two different ways. Now, this guy is in window 0 of that. This is in window 1, but they all have names also, so it doesn't really matter. You're gonna I don't think you actually need to use this. Then you also have JText fields. Now here's the annoying thing. There are lots of names that can get kind of annoying. But let me run this just to show you real quick. So I don't know how many of those things I just ran. Here we go. You have these things here are buttons. They're J buttons. And so like you have a whole bunch of J buttons. This is his name is Ace's button. His name is Two's button. His name is Three's button. Then these things here are actually J text fields. So this dude's name, that field's name is Ace's. This field's name is Two's. This field's name is Three's. So all these people have names. So that guy is Three's. Awesome. And then basically you only need to handle two of these functions. You have to handle deciding what buttons to highlight. And you got some example here. And basically the easiest way to do is just say highlight this button. And that'll highlight. And you just have to talk about which button. And yes, you want it to be highlighted. Then you have to respond to when they pick a score, which is when they respond to score is what you do when they press, when they press this score button. That's going to call respond to score, and you need to put the appropriate score in the field. And so again, you've got fields and you've got buttons to worry with. And so these comments give you some example syntax. If the thing they clicked was this particular button, then I'm going to do this business. Now the only thing is here you really have to watch out when they try to use, like when I roll my dice and I have this garbage, they might say I want to count that as my large straight. Well, that's not a large straight, so that would give you 0 points, not the 40. So you may have to watch out for that. But basically, that is how you play Yahtzee. Yahtzee just means 5 of a kind. I don't know why they call it Yahtzee instead of 5 of a kind. But that's pretty much it. Now the only thing you have to think about is if you have 4 of a kind, you also have 3 of a kind. So anytime that you end up with 4 of a kind, you also have 3 of a kind. Anytime you have a large straight, you also have a small straight. So those would, large straight and small straight would be highlighted both. But that is Yahtzee. You only get to play this many rounds, and so every round you have to pick one of these categories to use, which may have to be a 0. So sad if you've never played Yahtzee before. You need to have a family game night. But those are the ins and outs of Yahtzee.